So guys, I just wanted to cover a video here about why I love it so much in the Philippines. I've almost been here for 3 years, and I know I've put up some videos that if you just watch those you think I didn't like the Philippines, but obviously I love it here, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So really I wanted to basically talk about the positives of the Philippines, and not, there are negatives, but on this video I just want to talk about the positives. So before I talk about why I love it here, I want to put that in my context. So just a bit of history so you understand the context of me living here for those of you who haven't really followed the channel. Basically, I came here in November 2018, only planning to stay for 8 months. And 8 months became almost 3 years. So after 8 months, I kind of decided, I love it here. I looked at my finances and I decided, I can make it. I can make it on what I have, and I can live an okay lifestyle here in the Philippines, and if any extra income, that would help obviously to better my lifestyle. So after living here for, like I said, 8 months, about 10 months, I decided, I'm going to sell everything in the US and come over here. And it's a decision I made in 2019, and it's for me, it's been a great decision. So with that, that's to contextualize my background. So when I initially came here, I actually had a bit of work for developing a bit of software, and I did that, and it took me about 6, 7, 8 months, plus minus 5 hours to 20 hours a week, which was great because it kept me kind of busy and I loved it. But then after that, I have to admit I was kind of bored. Even doing all the trips and everything was great, but in between kind of got a bit bored. And then I decided to start a YouTube channel, or continue a YouTube channel, put more effort into it. And that's been great to keep me busy, So, I mean, you can only see so many waterfalls and go to so many beaches and go so many trips. And you want something to keep your mind busy, at least at my age I do. And that's been kind of the thing that's kept me busy and kept, my mind sane. So anyway, that's my background in short. And you might ask, what makes me want to stay in the Philippines compared to living in the West? And of course, all of you think it's, it's got to be the women. And if I said no, I'd be a lying son of a bitch, obviously. But it's a lot of other stuffs beside women. I mean, for me, women might be like 20-30% of why I stay. There's a lot of other countries in Southeast Asia one could go to. And I've never really had an issue, finding girls in the West or here or anywhere else. Now, could I date a 20-plus-year-old girl in the US? Probably not, but here you can. So the dating is better, but that's only a small part of why I stayed. So besides women, the thing I really love here is nature. If you guys have seen my channel, you've seen my walks in Valencia, the beautiful nature, the diversity of type of trees there are there. You've seen me go to beautiful waterfalls, go to white sand beaches, been, diving in corals, free diving that is, and it's just amazingly beautiful. Sometimes I go to these waterfalls and it feels like I'm in a movie set or something, because it's just, you kind of almost have to be here to see it. The filming doesn't really do it justice. When you go down to the corals, the diversity of color, the diversity of fish, it just amazes me each time I go down there. And every time I go and walking in nature, I feel invigorated. I feel like I'm born anew, if that makes sense. I mean, that might be a bit exaggerated, but you feel so good. You feel good inside. You feel the stress going out of you. You feel like, I don't know, it's like a really great feeling, for me at least, to walk in nature, to go to waterfalls, to dive in the corals and see the fish and all that. It brings something to you that it's hard to explain. I can't put it really in words. And I think you kind of have to, if you're a nature type of guy, that is, I mean, some people might not enjoy that, but for me, it's just amazing. The nature here is amazing. And that's one of the reasons that keeps me staying here. I love the nature. So yeah, for me at least, nature has brought tranquility and a stress-free life that I couldn't imagine existed when I was working in the US 60, 70 hours a week. Or maybe I could imagine it, but I'd forgotten about it. I mean, so again, nature does something special for me, at least. So hopefully it does for you too. Another thing that I found really great here in the Philippines, and I've talked about this before, is the social life. The social life here is so much better than the US. And the reason for that, I believe, is, of course, the society itself, but also that in the US, almost everybody's working 40 plus hours a week. So everybody's stressed. Here, life seems more relaxed. Life is like they say in Mexico and Spain, mañana. You know, it's take it easy, relax. People are more smiling. People are more welcoming. People aren't scared all the time. I feel like in the US, when I lived there, people are scared of everything. People are scared of their kid going out, somebody kidnapping their kid, even though statistically speaking, there's no more chance of that happening today than it was in the 50s or the 60s. And all the news one sees on the media, or all the scare tactics they use, everybody seems to be scared all the time. And it's just so much more relaxed here. People are smiling, happy, easy to make friends, really easy to make friends. Most of the expats coming here are looking to make friends because they don't have any friends here. So everybody's kind of looking to make friends. And there's also a diverse group of retirees here, people that love nature like me, people that like to go to the bars like others, people that want to do something extraordinary. Like I know this guy who wants to eventually buy a sailboat and sail around the Philippines. There's a lot of people here and a lot of groups here. So it's easy to find a group that you fit in. And I think once you come here, it'll take some time. It takes some time to find good friends, but eventually you will. And I think that's part of the enjoyment here in the Philippines, at least for me, is the social life. I can just relax, go out, have a coffee with friends, and then I can go swimming, and then I can come back, work a bit on YouTube, make a video like I'm doing now. So yeah, life here is social-wise, it's really, really great, and I think you'll enjoy it much more here than I think most people do in the West. Now, in the West, you have the advantage, obviously, that you might have family there, and you might have childhood friends and all that. So, I didn't in the U.S. since I was an immigrant to the U.S. But, I think even other people that come from the U.S., they seem to really, really enjoy it here. So the third thing is the cost of living. In the U.S., the cost of living is much higher than here. But there's also the pressure from neighbors and family and everything about having the last gadget, having the bigger home, having the nice car. In the Philippines, first of all, the cost of living is cheaper, but also there are none of those pressures. If you want to wear, an old watch, no one cares. If what make your shoe is, whether it's Nike or Adidas or some other shoe that no one's heard of, no one says anything. No one cares. Filipinos are so easygoing. So, having a motorbike that's cost, let's say, $20,000 versus a motorbike that costs $4,000, I really don't think a Filipino would care. She wouldn't even know, what type of clothes you wear, whether you bought it in a secondhand store or whether you bought it in the mall. Just doesn't seem to play that much of an influence on society here the way it does in the West. The importance of having the latest fashion, the importance, like for example, if you buy a Rolex in the US, I mean that brings you status and everything. It's just like people want a Ferrari, people want a Rolex, all that pressure that you have on you always to one up your neighbor, to have better. Here is just so much more relaxed. So not only is the cost of living cheaper, but just the lifestyle is so much easier because there are none of those pressures here. At least not that I've noticed. So that also makes your life stress-free, much more less stress, and it lowers the cost of living for you because those pressures are gone. So you don't really think about that. You don't think whether your shoes are 2 years old or 3 years old or what t-shirt. You want it to look good, but you don't have to spend a lot of money to wear nice clothes. Not here in the Philippines anyway. So with that, of course, cost of living is a big thing, and the pressures of society on buying stuff is a big thing, and those are kind of much less here in the Philippines. So again, it puts less stress on you. So So like I said, the stress is much less, but of course, almost everything is cheaper here. Me personally, I spend less than $2,000 a month, usually around $1,500 to $1,700, and that includes me and my partner. So for trips, for coffee, restaurants, food, dentist, healthcare, and everything. So it's relatively inexpensive compared to living in the West. So are there cheaper countries? Yes, there are, but I think it's a good combination here. So my fourth point is the Filipino people. The Filipino people are really fantastic people. They're kind people. They're typically smiling. They're so easygoing. They are non-confrontational. They are, you could go for a trip somewhere and there'll be a bamboo house and they'll invite you in, even though they can barely afford food. They'll offer you food and coffee and so on. And it's happened, it's happened to me and my friend. And it kind of amazes me that people with so little tend to offer you and have so much kindness in them. I've lost things before, like forgotten them, and almost always, except once, I've gotten it back. And in the US, I think it would have just disappeared. I've talked about my GoPro, leaving my GoPro at a fast food place, how I went back 30 minutes, an hour later, and I got it back. I left my phone several times on my motorbike, and I got it back, except for once here in Lapu-Lapu. So, just the honesty of the Filipino people is also amazing compared to their poverty level. It is a Christian society and a Catholic society, so that's kind of expected, but they are really a different type of people, very kind, gracious type of people, and it means a lot. It means a lot that they're not aggressive, that they are non-confrontational, that they're easygoing. It just makes your life so much easier. It makes your life better. It makes you as a person maybe easier going, less aggressive also, and happier. At least it has for me. My aggression level has gone way down compared to when I lived in the US. And I think in the US it's kind of a necessity to be a bit aggressive, so no one pushes you around. While here, it's just the atmosphere is just so much more relaxed. You kind of have to experience it for yourself to understand it. So again, I know I've said a lot of that. You have to kind of experience yourself, and I'm trying to hint that you should come here and spend a few weeks, months, or retire here. So, for me, it's been great. So the last thing, obviously, is women. Do I need to say more? I've talked about this so much, but the women here are just so much more feminine. They're kind, easygoing. Age gap relationship is not an issue. It's just the Filipino way of being, and they're so flirty too. It's not like the West. You can flirt with girls, even if they're not interested, they'll flirt back and smile and laugh and giggle. It's just something different. I've never been to a country that is like this here in the Philippines. So yeah, the women here are fantastic. I don't want to go too much into that because I think I've covered that in so many videos, so you can watch some of my other videos on that. But yeah, that was my fifth point. So I can't remember a time in the last 20 years that I felt as happy as I do now. It feels like I have everything that means something to me, and that is really what is essential. No, I don't have a Rolex on my hand or a Ferrari in my garage, but those things bring fleeting happiness, at least for me. What brings me happiness is the environment I live in. What more can you wish for? Beautiful girls, beautiful nature, cheap living, girls who are altruistic, and a beautiful native people that are beautiful both in character and in looks. And of course, my stress level is way down compared to when I was living in the US. Here, there is no need to show off for the neighbors, no need to try to impress some women that typically have an attitude over there. No Me Too BS, no $300 fines for parking in the wrong place or speeding. Life here is just so much easier and simpler. Are there negatives here? Yes, of course there are. Like in any other countries, and I have covered those in other videos as mentioned before, and you can see a link to those videos in the description. So anyway, that is just me, and your mileage might differ. I have said it before, And I'll say it again. Make a plan, a detailed plan before you get to the Philippines. Remember, if you're working and suddenly you're tired, boredom can be a killer for your happiness. So think it through. What do you want to do when you get here? And make a detailed plan. So thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and like. Especially the sharing really helps me on the YouTube algorithm. So I'll see you on the next one, and hopefully see you on the next live cast. Take care and bye-bye.